I think Xi Jinping is signaling to the world that he wants to have good, strong relations with the United States again, with Europe, and have a win-win situation economically. But let's be clear, that's not going to happen anytime soon. Donald Trump has already picked Marco Rubio, who's a China hawk, to be his Secretary of State if he's confirmed by the American Senate. But this is a well-known playbook by Donald Trump. As he said in his first administration, he put in John Bolton to be his national security advisor because when he met with the Iranians or when he met with the North Koreans, he wanted to bring Bolton there to scare them, to make them feel that Bolton would bomb them and kill them all. So what Trump is doing is he's putting in a China hawk like Rubio to try to scare the Chinese. But I don't think the Chinese are going to be scared this time. Right now, 2024 is very different from 2017. China is much better prepared for a trade war. It's now the largest trade partner of 120 countries. You know, American exports only account for about 14% of overall exports. That's down from 18% in 2017. So I think, Sylvia, Xi is signaling to the world he wants peace. He wants to have maybe competition and cooperation with the United States. But at the end of the day, he's not going to bow down. He's got red lines like Taiwan. He's got red lines like Xinjiang. And he wants to make sure that whether it's Biden or whether it's Trump, they don't encroach on Chinese sovereignty because China will push back.
I wonder whether there's an angle here where we actually see a bit of rapprochement, really, between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping in the sense that, you know, there seems to be a little bit of a link through Russia. You have Donald Trump, who sounds quite favor of President Putin. You have some ties as well in terms of trade between Russia and China. I wonder whether there's a room here for them to agree on something together, given that they seem to share that link.
That's a great question, Sylvia. And I think you've hit the nail on the head. Actually, Chinese prefer Donald Trump to Biden. With Biden, he would speak nicely, but his actions were horrible. He was always sanctioning the Chinese, putting on tariffs. Trump, he talks a lot, but at the end of the day, he backs down. He wants a deal. So it's a well-known playbook. He's going to put a lot of pressure on China to try to extract as much as he can from the business side. But we all have to remember, in 2020, in the run-up to the elections, Trump and China and Xi signed a deal, essentially in many ways to end the trade war, where China would buy more soybeans, would buy more beef from the United States. So it might not happen in year one, it might not happen in year two or year three, but I think at the end of the day, Donald Trump wants a deal, a business deal with China. He's not looking at trying to contain China or destabilize China from an ideological standpoint. And that's why Chinese prefer Trump over to Biden, prefer Trump over Harris, because they felt that Harris would be perpetuating an existential struggle between liberal democracies and communist parties. At the end of the day, Trump, he's a businessman. He's transactional. The Chinese feel that they can buy a deal and buy a rapprochement. And that's why I think, frankly, Sylvia, you heard it here, that Marco Rubio is going to be fired by the end of 2025 as Secretary of State, because he's not going to be able to scare the Chinese into submission, and he's not going to be able to get any type of rapprochement.